67 days to go until the transfer window shuts, but Manuel Pellegrini could be set to make his first signing as a West Ham United manager tomorrow, but he won't join until the 1st of July. Tom, looks like Ryan Fredericks is very, very close to being done. It might even be done. We just don't know it yet. What do you make of this signing? Free transfer from Fulham, 25-year-old right back.
Yeah, well, it's one position that we definitely need, Gio, you know, and with Fredericks, I don't know if he's going to be teaching from or learning from Zabaleta next year, because Zabaleta's only got 1 year left, I believe, hasn't he? But personally, I'd sort of fade Zabaleta out, play him less, more play Zabaleta mainly in the cups next year and put him straight in. Yeah, but apparently the Fulham fans are in a bit of a meltdown, aren't they? Apparently he was the best right back ever, and they got promoted, and obviously then they're a bit, oh, he's the worst right back now, like, you know, in no swear words, obviously. Fulham fans are not very happy, and we've got a good signing, I think. Freebie is Sullivan special. Good, no, it's a good signing.
All right, back with pace, Tom. Is that something we were lacking last season? The amount of times our sort of action went down the left continuously due to Zabaleta's lack of pace. So is this exactly what we need, Tom?
Yeah, I think, you know, we've stated on many videos that we needed to upgrade most positions with pace. You know, as Zabaleta's getting older, it's not a knock against him, but his pace is probably going to decline. I mean, he's still got the energy there. He's still got the workman-like attitude for play for 90 minutes, but his speed isn't there. So, you know, if you can move Zabaleta, maybe we've spoken before, Gio, I know you wanted to see him, you know, maybe in midfield or even at centre-back at times. I think having someone like Fredericks on that right-hand side is going to help him out massively. And I think the best bit about this is I saw him, his probably closest comparison was to someone like Kyle Walker. And I think if we've got someone rough around the edges like that, who's not really been, you know, played under a proper manager before, you know, put him under Pellegrini, and hopefully, you know, we can see what Kyle Walker, the difference he's had when he's played under Pep than to what he has at Spurs. So like Tom said, you know, it's a fantastic signing, and I can't wait to see him start, you know, to play for us.
Tom, is that something we should be considering? What Arthur's just mentioned there, possibly moving Zabaleta into defensive midfield, solving two positions with one signing, if you like.
Yeah, I can see what Ethers is saying, but no, Zabaleta unfortunately is obviously getting to. But saying that, mate, he was one of the fittest guys last year. Really, I mean, he was, and I know what Tom mentioned there about the fact that he was doing, but last year he was doing a lot of work, Gio. You know, he wasn't getting a lot of cover down there, and for me, he was my hammer of the year. So you know, he could potentially, and I think Zabaleta actually does. He has actually played in. Yeah, you are right. He has actually played in centre midfield. Yeah, no, that's a good call. But I'd probably use him as cover, maybe injury cover, and in the cups, in whatever position.
Last question on Fredericks. Arthur's, is the long-term plan, or should I say over the next 12 months, to phase Zabaleta out of the squad and get Fredericks in as the first choice right back?
Well, that is such a tough question, because I don't think we can phase him out completely, because like we said, for most people he probably was a hammer of the year until Arnie started banging some goals in. So no, I don't think we should phase him out, but we've just got to use him in the right situations and in the right mould. And I hope that he has a place in that side, because I think his attitude and his energy is what we need. We need leaders on the pitch. We didn't have that at times last season, especially when Wilshere was in charge. So I love having him back there. So I don't think we can phase him out just yet. But you know, there has to be ways that we can fit him into Pellegrini's system.
You've heard of the $40 million man, but have you heard of the £34 million man? Well, that's possibly what Jack Wilshere is. Arthurs, what do you make of this one? It looks like he's leaving Arsenal, and his contract demands amount to $34 million over a 4-year period. He's free. Is he good enough, and is he worth $34 million?
Yes, he is, but not when he's injured. If he's consistently putting in 30 to 38 games a season, then fair enough. But I don't think for the money, we've seen with someone like Andy Carroll how much money can be wasted sitting on the bench for an entire season or for 6 to 7 months at a time. So I can't justify saying that he needs to, you know, the 34 million, because I don't think anybody in their right mind, even a Palace, even, you know, a Leicester team, they're not going to pay that sort of money for someone, you know, who potentially could sit the full season on the bench. So when he's at his best, yeah, I would probably pay him that, but not right now, no. But it's difficult because I think Wilshere is probably England's best technical midfielder. His passing ability, you know, that game he had against Barcelona when he was 21, 22, if only he could have carried on in that vein. And sometimes he shows flashes of brilliance, but he's not consistent with it. And yeah, I wouldn't be paying him the £34 million for the contract.
Interesting. What about yourself, Tom? Would you be happy to see Jack Wilshere arrive on what is a free transfer at the end of the day, but it's a big outlay for a 4-year deal?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think Afford summed it up pretty well there, Gio, to be honest with you. On his day, yeah, I mean, I'll bite your hand off for Jack Wilshere, to be honest with you. But, I mean, he has been near enough fully fit all season for Arsenal this year, hasn't he? I think he had a month out, or month altogether. So he has had a good season. How old is he now? Is he 26, 27? So he's in the peak. He's in the peak of his career. So you're going to get the best out of him. I can't blame him for wanting a 4-year deal, a bit of security. But we always seem to have this habit as it's difficult. He's a fantastic player, not knocking his ability. It's one of them ones. If it happens, I'll be happy it happens. But I'm not. If it doesn't happen, I'm also happy. I'm happy either way, Gio. If we get Jack Wilshere, I'll be really happy because he's a good player. But I'm not particularly bold if we don't get him.
Interesting. Well, the other position West Ham do need filled this summer is the goalkeeper position. It came out earlier in the weekend. I think it was Friday or Saturday. It came out after the West Ham made inquiries about Jack Butland, whatever made inquiries actually means. Would you like to see us go for him? I mean, we spoke about £34 million as a contract for Jack Wilshere. That's probably the transfer fee you're going to be paying for Jack Butland.
Yeah, it is. Again, I don't agree with it, but he's a young English keeper, and that for some reason always wants to knock the price up. But he's just come from a relegated Stoke, so surely his price should be down. Again, he's another one that on his day is fantastic, but he's also had a few blunders in the last sort of 18 months. I don't think he's performed at the level that he should have done, especially for England. I think all of them, the whole collection, Pickford, Foster, Butland, none of them have been up to par. But he's young, he can learn, and I wouldn't be, I guess, going against, buying someone like him again, but it's just, can you justify the 30 million when we've got other positions that need to be filled for around that sort of similar price? So I would take Butland, but not for the price of the 30 million pounds.
What positions Arthur's take priority for you over the goalkeeper position this summer?
Centre mid, 100%. I think we need someone like a Carvalho. I think that should be top priority. And then I think also someone maybe to just ease the burden up top with Lanzini and Arnautovic, someone that can create a João Mario Pastore, which might not happen, a Felipe Anderson, and another star in the team that can just help out. But I think the main position needs to be filled is Cech Kouyate's and getting a workman-like centre midfielder in the team. So for me, it's Carvalho first. The keeper to me isn't important in this period of time. Even though we do need one, it's not the most vital position for us this summer.
Do you agree with that, Tom, or is it about time West Ham got the checkbook out and paid top whack for a goalkeeper and filled that position for years to come?
Yeah, I do think it is time to do that. But yeah, I do think Butland's a bit overpriced at 30 million, Gio. We can get him for maybe 20 and then add-ons. I think that'd be a good deal. But all the time this is going on, apparently, I've heard sort of snigglings from Adrian's account, and he wants to discuss his future. He's not too happy. Yet again, we're paying off the man who's been pretty loyal to us for many years. Is Adrian good enough for number one? It's a bit of a difficult one, isn't it? He was definitely better than Joe Hart last year. I'd be happy if Adrian in goal for another year, but I think Adrian's going to more than likely want another deal, and cement his place as number one. It's a difficult one. We do need a goalie, though. What do you do? I've heard a young goalie's pretty good as well, though, Gio. So is that a potential, do you reckon?
Possibly, but I'll tell you another goalie we are linked with, which we're going to quickly discuss, Tom. He was on loan at Aston Villa last season. Man United goalkeeper Sam Johnson. He's only got a year left on his contract at Old Trafford. He's going to be considerably cheaper than Jack Butland. Is he good enough for number one, though? That's up to debate. Tom, would you be happier to see us bring in someone like Sam Johnson, younger, not so proven as Jack Butland, but cheaper?
Yeah, if you're going to go for if he's got a good pedigree and he's cheaper, I think that could potentially be better. Because as you're right, a rumoured 65 to 70 million pound budget. We obviously minus if we get players sold, it's going to be added on top. Yeah, what sort of figure are we talking? 5 to 10 million? I don't know how much it's going to be. 5 to yeah, so that'd be a lot better. Obviously with Adrian as number one, and maybe sort of learning over the next year or two. Keep Adrian for a couple of years. It's a difficult one, Joe, isn't it? Really, you are right. It's a position we haven't really filled for many years. We've got away with it for many years. We've had quite good goalies actually, and it's something we need to really do investing in the near future.
Apparently, while Sam Johnson is on the target, he's not our number one choice to fill the number one spot, Arthur's. But should he be? Would that be what would be an astute signing? Like you just said, you think the transfer budget should be used elsewhere? Do you think this would be a clever signing to make in the sense that you don't have to spend that much?
I think it'd be a clever signing. For the games I saw him last year on Sky, I didn't watch many, but for the games that I saw of him, he looked a really good keeper. He looked, flexible, agile. His distribution looked all right. I mean, I can't speak for him as for the full season, but from what I saw of him in Spakes, he looked brilliant. A lot of those Man United players, they have to go out and craft their careers elsewhere before coming back because they're obviously they're probably good enough to be in the United academy, but some of those players they never really get a chance. And Johnston obviously was one of those with De Gea in goal. So I think he looked fantastic at times for Aston Villa, and I'd much rather do that. Give Adrian some competition for that out-and-out number one spot, and I guess a lot younger version of. I don't know how old is he? Is he younger than Butland or is he older than Butland?
I think he's maybe a year or two younger, but not much.
All right, then maybe wait a season, see what Adrian does. But I would rather bank on someone like that who's ready to take his chance at the top level than forking out for Butland and having someone that maybe 10 million, overpriced. But if not, maybe someone like Rui Patricio as well from Sporting, who had his contract potentially cancelled as well. That's another option. A decent keeper for maybe 1 or 2 years, with a lesser fee and spend the money elsewhere.
Well, there you have it. 4 potential incomings, 1 potentially being announced tomorrow, 1 potentially injury prone, 1 potentially overpriced, and 1 potentially has a lot of potential. Now we're going to be talking about the potentially outgoings. Tom, Michail Antonio being linked to Burnley. He was linked to Crystal Palace last week or so. He's now being linked to Sean Dyche's European campaign at Turf Moor. What's your thoughts on Antonio? Would you be disappointed to see him go, or would you? Do you think it's time to cash in on him?
Yeah, I do think it's time to cash in on Antonio, Joe. I miss the Antonio. I've been talking about this a lot today, actually. I miss the Antonio that we had the last season of Upton Park. That Antonio scored, 7, 8 headers. Going for I miss that Antonio running down the wing and had something to play for. But since he's got his big contract, for me personally, he hasn't been the same player. I don't know what was up with him the last year, especially. Obviously, he was out for a long time injured. I don't know if the manager rushed him back, obviously, because of the situation he was in the league, and it didn't help. But he didn't look fit to me. I've heard rumours about he was overweight due to muscle. If that's a thing. And I've heard, again today, we might not be able to sell him because I've heard that he's going to miss the whole pre-season and he won't be back till August/September. So I don't know how true that is. If that's true, it's going to he's going to be out for the first 4 or 5 games of the season. We might be able to sell him anyway. But yeah, for me, if that is not true and we can sell him, I would sell him.
Just quickly, Tom, what's your price? What would you be taking for him?
I wouldn't take no less than 20-25 million, Joe.
Well, Tom thinks he's bulked up in weight, but Arthur's this is a chance for us to bulk up on the transfer fee.
I'm exactly the same as Tom. We were, funnily enough, we were discussing it this morning, and all we remember from Antonio is that last season at Upton Park, and he was immense. Don't get me wrong; he was probably one of the best wingers, English wingers at the time. He scored some fantastic goals, and it was a memorable season. But other than that, there's hardly anybody that could tell you what he's done in the past couple of years, other than his 3 assists against Palace and the opening goal at London Stadium against Bournemouth. He's not done a lot. He's been injured. He's bulked up way too much. His muscle mass is ridiculous. He looks like he can hardly run at times. He looks knackered after every time he's done. And maybe we did rush him back because of the situation, and maybe it isn't partly his fault, but I think we got to cash in on him, especially if we're going to reinvest that money. We said it in the transfer shows the other day. If that money's getting reinvested, then I've got no issues with selling Antonio, because I think if this is an injury that hasn't been niggling him now for 2 years, I'd hate for it to just, him to re-injure himself and it's another 6 months sat on the bench. So I haven't got anything against Antonio, but I do think that it's time now to cash in on him.
What is the cashing in value, Arthur?
Well, I was going to say cash in, but it's not like it's going to be anything over 20. I think for me, being off of the 2 seasons he's had, it's what is his potential at this point. And I think he's sort of dipping off that window. So for me, anywhere between 10, maybe 15 million, I think you would probably take for him, because you can't bank on him being fit for the full season.
Pretty harsh, you two. The London Stadium in the first year, he was our hammer of the year, so he has achieved something at the London Stadium for 12 months. But 2 other players that are being linked with moves out, potentially on loan. Tom, first one for yourself. Reece Oxford, do we loan him out, or should we also be looking to sell him? Or does he need a clean slate under Pellegrini and see if he can do what Bilic and Moyes has done with Declan Rice? Yeah,
I mean, if you're going by the rumours, again, it's all rumours, about his attitude and things. It's bye-bye. But Pellegrini's in. I think Pellegrini's even going to give Snodgrass a chance in pre-season, which I'm not particularly happy about myself. It was pretty. But hey, Pellegrini, new manager. He's got a new coaching team. Everything's different. He might get an extra 5-10% out of these players, which could be the difference from me thinking someone's bad and then being actually okay on the team. You know, a good squad player. So Oxford, well, everyone gets a new chance, but it comes down to him, doesn't it? Apparently, he wants to stay in Germany. So if the lad wants to stay in Germany, then we just got to get as much money as we can.
Arthur's Hugh Golty got married yesterday. Congratulations to him. It's his birthday today, but he's been linked with a loan away. I mean, does a loan even make sense, or do you think we should just be selling him and just cutting our losses and getting out of there?
Yeah, I mean, I'll finish off speaking maybe about Oxford instead, because I don't think there is anything we can say about it. It is literally, it was the dumbest thing ever done by a West Ham owner with, I don't know, a couple of hours ago with the transfer window left. I feel sorry for the kid because it doesn't even make sense. Like, why we bought him potentially just to save the cost of it when we went down into the Championship. We already had a striker there for us, so of that, you know, we didn't have to spend at that point. But it just made no sense. I don't see what point in loaning him out is. He's what, 24, 25. I don't think he can get any better. He's at a Championship level, so get rid of him. I don't understand what we would, you know, we would want to do with him next season. And he's not a kind of Pellegrini player. You can't imagine him saying Arnautovic, Felipe Anderson, Pastore, and Jordan Hugill. It just doesn't fit, does it? So I do feel sorry for him. He's been, you know, used a bit here, but no, we got to sell him. Yeah.
One thing you do need to keep your eye on in the rest of the transfer window, which hasn't really been touched upon much, is West Ham's homegrown quota. Currently, in Premier League rules, you need 8 homegrown players. West Ham last season had 8, but since then, Joe Hart and James Collins have both left the club, bringing us down to 6. And the players that are linked with leaving are all part of the homegrown quota. Now, while Ryan Fredericks is coming in, Arthur, does it concern you, or do we need to be keeping one eye on the transfer targets, if you like, because we're going to have to meet that quota?
Yeah, I think that's why it would make sense if we were to go for someone like Wilshere. You obviously need to keep an eye on that quota, yeah. So again, I'm all for having someone like Reece Oxford have his chance. I just think that the guy's attitude is all in the wrong place. I don't think that he's got to the graft and he's done what Declan Rice has done, which was just shut up, do your time in training, and you will get the chances and you'll get the rewards if you do it. So I'm all for allowing these people to have their chances and stay. And obviously we do have to keep an eye on it, but it wouldn't surprise me if we were looking, like you said, with Sam Johnston, Wilshere. You know, these transfers probably make more of a sense than one like Pastore. But it'll be interesting to see who we go for. And I'm sure we'll keep hold of probably a few people that we thought originally that we might sell in this window.
Well, there you have it. 7 transfer rumours, 67 days to go. We'll be back on Thursday night with another transfer show with 2 different guests talking about whatever happens between now and then. There'll be plenty of made-up stories, I'm sure. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to your new channel around here. And I'll be back on Wednesday night with Gonzo. We'll be doing our cup of tea. We'll be discussing all these slightly more in depth. That's been the 2 Toms. I've been Joe. We've been Hammer Chat. And we'll see you on Thursday.